We are releasing Meta Horizon OS, and we are partnering with some of the best hardware companies out there to design new headsets, and this will change VR forever.
So the entire VR industry just got flipped on its head with that announcement from Zuuk, taking the core operating systems of the Quest into the hands of the third parties. And we will explore everything this will offer, from blogs to a new AMA from Boz on the future of the Meta Quest. But that's not everything. From some actual solid news about Augments from Meta's VP, some crazy new partnerships to third-party manufacturers, to a free ultra-realistic swimming experience you can play today. And so welcome back to another week's worth of VR news. Let's start by talking about Augments. These have been on the tip of release for some time now, and they clearly have been delayed from an expected launch around January. Well, Mark Rabkin, Meta's VP, has recently answered some questions to reporters, and this is what he said. Quest 3 is scheduled to implement a feature called Augment. This is to create MR environments that make more use of real space by placing objects on walls and desks. And the reporter also asks, when will the update be here? And he replied, it's currently in development and we plan to make it available in the coming months. Now, I know this isn't a solid answer, but it's clear they've taken the time to add some extra development, and I think this could be something to do with a new spatial framework. With the recent drama with Google and Meta, it's clear that Meta is desperate for a 2D app ecosystem on the Quest. And from what Zuuk says here,
we're also, as part of this, going to be opening up our store. To give you even more options to use whatever experiences you want. So whether they're on Steam, Xbox, Cloud Gaming, our own App Lab, or even Google Play, if they're up for it, our philosophy is that we want you to be able to run the content on Quest or any Meta Horizon operating system headset.
It's clear they would love the Play Store on the Quest, but it could be something more than that. In the same interview with Meta's VP, this was mentioned. Additionally, we will provide a spatial framework for Android-based 2D applications. With just a few changes, you can go from 2D to a 2.5D app that takes advantage of the space. And you can also create 3D apps and bring something out of space. You can also place objects in the environment and create realistic lighting. You might have also heard Meta Store is completely changing to accommodate more games across different platforms, and finally integrating App Lab into the store. Now, I don't think this means everything will be mixed together, but a store that gives us more options like 2D apps or Xbox Game Pass seems like a good option. It also seems like the partnership between Xbox and Meta especially is being highlighted, but we'll get into that in a second. So as for this new spatial framework, this actually sounds like something more than just augments, but using software to convert existing apps into something more immersive, more three-dimensional. So my best guess is Augments will be packaged as something more than what we've seen so far, which is good news and could potentially be also integrated into the Meta Store. But let's talk about the Meta Horizon OS announcement. I know I'm late to the party with this announcement, but I wanted to hold off from making an immediate video about this for one specific reason. I wanted the opinions of people who truly understand the VR market, like Carmack, Palmer Luckey and Boz, so I could give you as much information as possible, so we can all understand what's actually going to come out of this. And now, a couple of days have passed, they have all given their take on what this means for the future of Quest. And by the looks of it, it's not exactly what you might think. But just in case you have no idea what we're talking about, a few days ago, Zuuk made this announcement.
Hey, is this on? Alright, some updates on the metaverse today. We are releasing Meta Horizon OS, our operating system that powers Quest virtual and mixed reality headsets, and we are partnering with some of the best hardware companies out there to design new headsets that are optimized for all the different ways that people use this tech.
Now to me, this sounds a lot like what the Oasis is. You might remember that the Oasis was used by several different headsets, and it was the software that was the key. And while it's not perfect, the amount of development with inside-out tracking and hand tracking is leagues above everything else. But enough of what I think. Boz recently did an AMA and also removed that AMA, interestingly enough, and he does talk about this new announcement.
Yeah, my personal thoughts are, we've been designing headsets for a while now, and one thing that we've always known, and we've talked about a lot, is it's a very tight trade space. So if you want to build a great headset for fitness, if you want to build a great headset for productivity, if you want to build a great headset for gaming, these require trade-offs in how you design the optics, the displays, how you choose the sensors, how you do the ID, how you do weight distribution. And the further it is in one vector, the further away it is from another vector. We're going to continue to build what we think of as kind of the most general purpose device that we can. But that leaves a lot of room and opportunity, big markets, we think, for people who are willing to serve those dedicated communities who care a lot more about a specific combination of features. So that's what I'm excited about for Meta Horizon OS.
It's definitely clear that Meta sees a lot of potential in letting other manufacturers make headsets, but with Meta continuing to make general purpose low and high-end headsets, that doesn't leave much room for competition, unless done cheaply. Which brings us to Carmack. He had a pretty strong view as expected when it came to this announcement, and I'll read some of the highlights. Meta already sells Quest systems basically at production cost, and just ignores the development cost, so don't expect this to result in cheaper VR headsets from other companies with Quest equivalent capabilities. Even if other companies have greater efficiency, they can't compete with that. What it can do is enable a variety of high-end boutique headsets as you get with Vario, Pimax, Big Screen on Steam VR. Push on resolution, push on field of view, push on comfort. You could drive Apple displays from the Quest silicone. You could also make a headset for people with extremely wide or narrow IPD or unusual head and face shapes. You could add crazy cooling systems and overclock everything with full app compatibility but at higher price points. That would be great. So what I get from this is it could result in high-end, high-price headsets using the Quest operating system, which will be a good thing overall, not quite what I'd imagined we were hoping for. We all know we're getting essentially a TV for your face with the Xbox Meta partnership, a high-end gaming headset with the Asus headset, and another more work-focused headset with Lenovo. It's hard to picture what exact differences these will be, but we will be getting more headsets for sure. But like Carmack mentioned, if I was Pimax now, I would be really unsure what direction to take. What effect will joining the Horizon OS ecosystem have on the company? That's the main question. If it's in favour of purely expanding the market, the majority of manufacturers like Pimax, Pico, not Valve, could adopt Horizon OS to give us the new standard. Because it's pretty clear that in the standalone space, there is no competition. You can't compete with a company who doesn't need to keep making money from VR to develop it. But onto the final opinion. Palmer Luckey, the founder of Oculus. Here's what he had to say on the interview with Road to VR. Luckey tells Road to VR that opening up the platform to third-party headsets was explicitly our plan over 10 years ago, but Facebook would later pivot Oculus hard away from it. He points out that an interview from 2014 with Brendan, CEO of Oculus, at the time reasoned if we want to get 1 billion people on virtual reality, which is our goal, we're not going to sell 1 billion pairs of glasses ourselves. We're going to openly take any kind of partner that wants to jump into VR, and there are lots of interest in it right now. I always strongly believe that Oculus should endeavour to build technology platform that powered, supported every headset. Even competitors like HTC, this was always the correct strategy. Hopefully, it isn't too late. There have been a lot of tension between Meta and Palmer recently, but the move to allow third parties to help the industry move forward seems like a right move. But it could mean more than that. You might remember a few weeks ago Luna showing us some strings relating to third-party controllers connecting to the Quest. Well, I guess this could have something to do with the announcement, but it also looks like Meta is opening up with a Made for Meta badge of honour. It's giving this to some accessory makers, showing again that Meta doesn't want its model to be around building hardware. Beep Haptics, the company behind TaxSuit, but also they sell on their site a pair of haptic gloves. The issue with these before was that the supported games were limited, but the fact now this is made for Meta, it might mean that support becomes more openly adopted. Lastly, I want just to highlight 2 new games you should definitely play today. First, Contractor Showdown has finally released, and as expected the reviews are off to a good start. I'm sure you all know about this Battle Royale game, as it's been insanely popular, but I'll leave 25% off link in the description. Lastly, I'll leave you with an insanely realistic free diving game and a bit of area math. I hope you enjoyed today's video, like and subscribe if you did, and as always, I'll catch you on the next one.